to share a little question with you and a little intel that I don't think you're very aware of until I talk to you today about what do mirrors have to do with your cellular activation? What do they have to do with your cellular activation? You might be wondering, what does that have to do with anything? Well, let's go in here and let's look at not the sea turtle over here, but let's look at this mirror that's right in front of us right here. So is anyone so special that when you stand in front of a mirror, whether I'm a human or whether I'm a mammal, a cat, a dog, a horse, it doesn't matter what kind of animal, a mammal that I might be. In fact, I could be an inanimate object like this shower curtain, right? And it still reflects, everything is reflected because that's the job of a mirror, right? Well, guess what, my friends and gems? The beauty of that is that no one is so special that a mirror is not going to reflect back your image and anything that's inside of that room when you look at it. And guess what? What does that have to do with your health and well-being, with your body and mind transformation? You're turning the other cheek from things getting infinitely worse to now things getting infinitely better. Well, I don't have to tell you that it has everything to do with that. Oh, yes, it is a matter of perspective. So it is, in fact, about time that you realize and recognize and notice, become aware and understand what is really at hand here. Because the truth of the matter is that a mirror is very similar to a crystal. And guess what? If you take a diamond crystal and you are now shining a light, it could be that type of a light. For example, I've got little diamonds in this ring, and the light bounces off of those diamond crystals or that emerald. But let's keep it to diamond crystals. When you shine a light on a diamond crystal, guess what? The light bounces off of that crystal and it reflects back on my eyes, and I see all the beautiful different colors of the rainbow, do I not? Is anyone so special that if you flash a light on a diamond crystal that the light won't reflect back? No, it works for everybody. It's the law of the universe, the law of nature, right? Pretty exciting. So I want to tell you that this organic nanotechnology, it's using organic crystal nanotechnology that's applied on traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to magnify the effects of each one of the fantastic 5 patches to turn the body back to its original state of being. Yes, that's what it does. This is an organic nanotechnology that it was originally designed, developed, and deployed for none other than the Navy SEALs. That's right, my friends and gems. And I got to tell you that it is a powerful technology. And so we have you wear the Fantastic 5 to take care of the primary systems of the body. And so let's talk about that a little bit, because no one is so special that this technology doesn't work on them. Because why? Every single live mammal, and as human beings, we are mammals. Yes, we are mammals. In fact, yes, sir, indeed, we are all mammals. Human beings, cats, dogs, horses. We are mammals. We have an ovum, and it unites with a sperm. And at conception, you have complete information. And now you have 23,688 genes that create these pluripotent master smart cells that are going to design, develop, and deploy. They're going to get out there and they're going to form you in your mother's womb. And now, guess what, my friends and gems? That complete information is going to grow you into a little embryo in your mother's womb. Isn't that cool? And before you were born, there are all sorts of things that your body can be exposed to as you're developed in your mother's womb. And as those stem cells, those pluripotent cells, those master cells are putting you together, and they're actually head to toe designing everything that's necessary, from your brain to your eyeballs to your eyelashes to your hair, your heart, your muscles, everything in your body. It takes about 40 weeks for it to go from conception to birth. Sometimes kids jump the gun, like my kids were a little early birds, so they jumped out of the oven 2 months early. But basically it takes about 36 to 40 weeks for then you to be a newborn baby, right? And a lot of things can happen in utero, because if I was visiting Chernobyl, obviously we know that Chernobyl is very much radioactive, there's a nuclear meltdown there. And if I was visiting Chernobyl while I was having a baby, growing in my uterus, well, then guess what? That's going to up or down regulate the genetic expression, not the original blueprint, but it is going to alter the genetic upregulation or downregulation. That's going to affect the outcome of that baby. And guess what? Now we can unring the bell of that damage. If I inhaled, drank, absorbed, ate, smelled, doesn't matter how the toxin came into my body, whether it's an organic or synthetic toxin, whether it's an injury that I sustained, maybe I was in a car accident while I was pregnant with a child, I can unring the bell of that damage through this technology. It's that powerful. There isn't anything that it can't unring, because it's activating 33% of your previously dormant cells. And if you're a child, and let's say you still have 100%, because we've had kids that had a little boy that, one of our friends, Damaris, her little boy, the older brother, accidentally closed the door on the younger brother's finger, and the fingertip came off. Damaris grabbed the finger, ran with her child, ran to the ER, told the ER doctor, attach it. And he said, well, we're going to attach it, but it's going to die. It's going to eventually turn black, and it's going to fall off. You're not going to be able to save the finger. Luckily, she already had these patches in her possession, because she had gotten them for herself. Little did she know that she was going to have this trauma happen to her young son. And guess what? The doctor went ahead and sewed the finger back on, and that little boy, then his mother Damaris, wrapped that finger with the patches, and lo and behold, in less than 30 days, in fact, in that first week, yes, the finger did turn black, just like the doctor said it would. And guess what? A couple days later, it pinked back up, came back to life through that child's original cellular blueprint, activated and knew to grow back that fingernail and that fingertip. And the rest is history. We've got pictures and video of that. It's pretty funny because his hand's all wrapped up, and he is pretty rowdy, and Damaris is pretty excited in that video. So my friends and gems, I want to tell you that there's all sorts of possibilities of unringing the bell. I don't care what your diagnosis, what your symptoms are. I don't care what your syndromes. We don't make any medical claims, but I'm here to tell you that a possibility does exist where you can improve whatever it is, whatever health challenge you have. You're talking right now. You're looking and hearing a girl who had brain damage. Very mortifying. Someone who really identifies with my intellect, because I repatterned the brain from physical and emotional trauma. My son, some of you guys don't know this, but my son almost died of a neurological disorder, which is kind of what made me go down this path. Never did I ever think that I would end up having a neurological trauma myself. And I end up with brain damage. So I went from being the mother of a child with a neurological syndrome called Guillain-Barré. He spent 11 weeks in pediatric intensive care. It's a long time to spend in pediatric intensive care. He almost died the first, and luckily he didn't. And then in 2017, I got hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. And then I suffer brain damage. My point of impact was the bottom left-hand side of my head. And I had a terrible neck injury, back injury, leg injury, laceration from my ankle to my knee. Miserable, horrifically painful, miserable, 24/7 pain lost half my hair, had bald spots on my head, had my skin, because when your CPU, which is your central processing unit, that's what your brain is, when you go offline and there's disconnections and there's damage to the circuit board, guess what? Those nerves don't connect anymore and the information isn't going across. I could not think, I could not recall, I had zero short-term memory for the first couple of years. And I was so focused on managing the excruciating pain that I suffered with that, which made me extremely sympathetic and empathetic to people who are suffering from pain. I can't stand to see or to hear that someone is in pain and understand what it's like to not have it let up 24/7, and how my entire day was spent those first couple of years managing the pain, keeping it from going unbearable, from a pain level of 0 being no pain, 10 being unbearable. I would have a pain level of 9 or 10, and heaven forbid I should sneeze. Oh, it went from excruciating to nuclear. I should cough. Heaven forbid I should take a misstep. Sometimes opening a door would cause my pain to go nuclear. Sometimes all of a sudden a shift in atmospheric pressure in my house, a window would be open and a door would slam and I would flinch and I would see stars. And I used to think, why am I not passing out when you have so much pain that it's unbearable? I know that the body is supposed to go in shock, and then the blood is pulled from the brain, and then you pass out. And for some reason, I did not pass out. I would just have to endure this horrific pain. And I'm like, why don't I just pass out? And I wouldn't pass out. And the only times I would find relief is when I went deep meditation, and I would spend 3 times a day minimum, beginning of the day, the middle of the day, and the end of the day, doing 2 to 2.5 hour meditations, just so I was out of body, because it was the only time that I had relief. And I would come back to my body and then try to manage, trying to sit up, get out of bed. Every step was a management. I was like walking on eggshells, trying to make sure that the pain did not get any worse, because it was already unbearable. And I refused to take Tylenol. I refused to take Advil. I would leave my neurologist with prescriptions, and as soon as I walked out, I threw it in the trash. As soon as I would leave, because I'm not going to river I refuse to damage my liver, my kidneys, and my skin for the sake of pain management, even though I was in terrible pain. And then I lost weight, because the dysregulation of your body it's a mess. It is horrible. So I understand what it's like to go through that kind of trauma, which is why I have so much empathy for people. And I understand what it's like to not have short or long-term memory. And I understand that when you have a compromise in your short-term memory and you don't remember something, that thing that happened 5, 10, 15 minutes ago may as well have happened on another planet, because in your brain, it never happened. It may as well be on another planet. It's not like you have a vague notion, or it's like a fuzzy, maybe no, it just never happened. Out of sight, out of mind. So my friends and gems, I don't have that problem anymore. If you want to pull out your calculator right now, whether you do it on your computer or your cell phone, I want you to know that a couple months ago, about 2.5, almost going on 3 months ago, I went to see Robert Edward Grant in La Jolla at the Trilogy Sanctuary. He gave a talk about sacred geometry. He was talking about the pyramid codes. He was talking about different discoveries that he had while he was in Egypt. And he was talking about the Fibonacci sequencing, about the golden mean ratio, and all these different numerical calculations. And then he started his presentation talking about the square root of 2. I'm like, I don't need to know the square root of any number. Honestly, what would I use the square root? Why would I want to calculate the square root of a number? I don't have that need. But he's a polymath and he can do correlations of numbers and so forth. So I remember he pulled up on the screen. I happened to be sitting in the second row. Interesting, because we're talking about the square root of 2. There's that 2 number. And I was recording and videotaping. If you go to my YouTube channel, Love and Money Secrets TV, for those of you who are watching on Love and Money Secret TV, of course you're going to see that if you go in the history of my live videos. But he pulled up the square root of 2 and he said, everybody pull out your calculators, do square root of 2. And so I recorded that on the screen up front on stage, as well as the guy that was to my left. He put square root of 2 and then the number 1.4142, 1356, 237 showed up. And I thought, I'm never going to have to use that number because it doesn't have any significance. It's not like pi or the circumference of a square or some other things. Pythagorean theorem. Okay, maybe there's use for stuff, how many centimeters are in an inch, 2.54 centimeters. So there's certain numbers that you do use, but square root of 2, that has no use for me. Guess what? That was a Saturday. 3 days later, guess what happened? 3 days later, I am on Facebook. And as I'm on Facebook, somebody's having some sort of discussion having to do with sacred geometry. And as they're having this discussion, I notice there's a correlation between some sort of number sequences, because one of the things that happens is that as you regrow the neurological pathways of your brain, as you balance your left and your right brain hemisphere, as you start to optimize your brain because you're getting reset to your original state from when you were conceived in your mother's womb, I started to notice numerical patterns, which I did not notice before. So as this discussion went on, I'm like, hey, that correlates to the square root of 2. I'm like, I never thought I was going to use this information, but here I am in this discussion about sacred geometry on a Facebook post. And I talked about how 1.4142, 1356, 237 made that argument or that comment, moved on, and I thought, I did not have to remember that number, but I did. The game changer is that I had to make no effort to recall that number. For those of you who are pulling out on your calculator or going to Google and root of 2, you're going to see that number sequence is in fact correct. And here I am looking at you on the camera, reciting that number, and it's months later, and I still remember it. So all that to say that there are all sorts of things that I remember now effortlessly. I don't have to learn things. I read them, I understand, I comprehend. I go, that's important information, I should recall that, and then when I need it, I do recall it. Game changer. I spend a lot less energy learning things because I read them and I understand them. There's no learning required. You just get it right off the bat. What would that do for you? Do you think that might make your life a little easier, a little more efficient? It's made my life better, my life more efficient. I got to tell you, for my business partner, for Dr. Stacy, she got her second PhD in 5 months. I don't know anybody who has gotten a PhD in that short a time frame. I've never heard of anybody getting a PhD in less than a year, and yet she did. But that's because of the brain optimization. Next level game changer, without a shadow of a doubt. What could you do with that if you were the best version of yourself? If you were optimized to a state of being that not only did you unring the bell of whatever things are bothering you in your body, if you have digestive issues, if you have hormonal issues, if you have toxins, if you have parasites, if you have whatever it is that plagues you, doesn't matter what it is. What if you got rid of all of that, and on top of that, you got better memory, focus, and brain processing speed, your ability to recall things instantly? What could you do with that? I gotta tell you, for me, it's been a next level game changer. I would not trade it for anything in the world. And for the price of 2 cups of coffee a day. I gotta tell you, I would much rather pay for that, the price of 2 cups of coffee a day, than the co-pays and the misery and pain that you pay, and all the time investment, and the time that it takes to drive to all these hospitals, doctor visits, pharmacy, blah, 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 go on and on and on. Instead, I order this organic nanotechnology. It gets FedEx to me. Pick it up, got it home, and every morning I just put them on. 12 hours on, 12 hours off. I don't know if any of you ever watched the film. Did you ever watch that Bradley Cooper film called Limitless? How many of you watched that? If you watched that, in the comments below, let me know if you watched that. That's a great film. I remember when that first came out, I thought, oh my gosh, a pill that turned this guy who was he was a complete louse. He was just lazy. He was unproductive. He was feeble. Very, very feeble. And all of a sudden, he discovered that there was this pill that would make him limitless. It expanded his consciousness. It increased his memory, his focus, his brain processing speed, and he was able to read, understand, comprehend, recall, didn't have to memorize. He could recall and recite things. And he became this phenom. He became this book author because since he could remember all this information as he read all these books much quicker than he did before, understand them without having to learn, and then recall and recite. Then he became this extraordinary human being, became very productive. He became very wealthy. He was able to have limitless potentials, which is really our God-given birthright, isn't it? My friends and gems, this is possible for you right now in this lifetime. You don't have to wait 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You don't have to wait. This is med tech in a patch. Med tech in a patch. I can think of no better gift in the universe than the gift of health. And you have that available to you right now. Because for those of you who want to learn more, you can just comment below. You can jump on my Zoom on Monday, or you can reach out to me tomorrow. I will be jumping on a plane tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central Time, jumping back on a plane from here, Destin, Florida, and I'm going to be flying back to California. But before then, up until that plane takes off, I can take your call. I can answer your questions. I can help you with whatever concerns you might have. I can pair you up with the exact combination, the Fantastic Five, whether you're super healthy, whether you just want to detox, whether you just want to undo the bell of EMFs, radioactive poisoning that we get from the water supply, that you get from the bad food, because let's face it, our food in the States is not the greatest. We got a lot of Monsanto food, and not all the food, even food that's labeled as organic, is not always organic. So guess what? This is one way to get ahead and repair quicker than you damage your body and unring the bell of damage. We got a lot of radiation poisoning coming. You know, I'm not blaming the Japanese, but the whole Fukushima trifecta, the earthquake, the nuclear meltdown, and that tsunami that hit. We're still getting nuclear radiation because that's still bleeding in Japan. They've got record rates right now of cancer because of that mess. Did you know that Disney has been building for the last several years? They spent over $600 million on a cancer hospital in Japan. You can look it up. You can look, there's my friend who actually is the top 3 architectural firm in the United States. They do stuff for Disney. They do stuff globally. They're the ones who designed, if you look at LAX airport, they're the ones who designed those colorful pillars when you arrive or leave LAX airport. It changes colors. It looks so beautiful at night. Ron Izumida, he's the guy who started IMA Designs many, many, many years ago. And they have a contract for doing all the architectural design for those hospitals that Disney has funded, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, $600 million. That's a lot of money. Guess what? We can unring the bell of damage from those things and from all sorts of other things, my friends and gems. So if you've been given a diagnosis, if you've been told you only have, I've had people who've reached out to me only have 2.5 weeks to live. My friend Anne, who is here in Destin, I came to meet with her a year ago. She was able, 20 months ago, we put her on the patches. A year ago, October, she was able to go back to work when she was disabled for 10 years. She needed a liver transplant, and they had ablated both her left and right thyroid. She had breast cancer, mold, she had fungus. She had severe autoimmune disorder. They had taken a bunch of organs out of her body, and they said, you know what, you got 2.5 weeks to live, nothing else we can do for you. She had no feeling in her hands and feet. They told her to get her affairs in order. She had been watching my YouTube videos for 6 months, at which point when she was given that, her last rites, she said, hey, this is what I was just told. I've been watching your videos. I don't have any other questions. Tell me, what do I need? How quickly? Can you overnight these to me? And I told her, this is exactly what you need. She got started on the Fantastic Five. And she has a nonprofit that helps women who have received breast implant illness, because she had to have explants done. That's the removal of implants, because she had gotten breast cancer and mold that went into her brain and all of her organs. And there was no way to unring that bell until she got on this life-saving technology. We don't make any medical claims because these are general wellness products. They're made in FDA registered facilities. So if you want to know more, you can do one of two things. You could binge watch my videos. You'll see a short playlist of videos that are 30 seconds to 33 minutes long. If you go to the top of the Love and Money Secrets TV YouTube channel, you'll see that under one of the tabs it says podcast. There's about 160 plus videos that are 30 seconds. 30 seconds to as long as 33 minutes long. So a lot of people will binge watch those and then reach out to me. Other people are like, they just watch a few of them and they know somebody who had a life-saving experience. They have people who were unable to walk that are now walking. And they're going, you know what? This had an incredible result for my friend. What do I do? How do I get myself started on this? How quickly can I get them? Would you overnight them to me? And in some areas, we have a 2-day shipping for, depending on the zip code that you're in here in the States. And for others, it takes 5 days. We have distribution centers throughout the world, so it takes about 2 to 5 days also in Europe and Australia and New Zealand, because we have a distribution center also in Australia. So it doesn't take weeks and weeks and weeks, because if I were to mail something, which I have, because I got lots of people on the patches and lots of friends that are in Australia, it takes a month. If I were to mail something to someone, it takes about a month for them to get it, even in 2024, which is way too long. And it's very expensive too. Luckily, we have a distribution center down there, so you get it in 3-4 days. It's not bad at all. Does that make sense? So my friends and gems, I want to thank you guys. Let's see, I've got Lucas Johnson. Thank you for watching. And I see and I see Libby. Good to see you on here. My friends and gems, if you know of someone that this life-saving information might be helpful for them, make sure you share this video with them and get back to the person that shares this video with you. If Libby shares this video with you, then get back to Libby. She's going to tell you exactly what you need to do to get started. And she is part of our team. She'll be able to get the answers to any and every question that you might have. Everyone on my team is highly skilled and trained, and we have the fastest growing group of doctors and holistic care practitioners in the world. We are in the top 100 globally for cell activation specializations. And we have doctors that have incredible, in addition to having MDs, they have multiple PhDs, like Dr. James Caneller. Not only did he start off, I'm going to brag a little bit about some of my colleagues, not only did Dr. James Caneller get a biomedical engineering degree, but then he went on to get a PhD in pharmacology. Wouldn't you know it? He knows the inner physically. He understands applied physics, not just physics, because as a biomedical engineer, he understands physics and applied physics at a level. Then he knows the interaction between the pharmacology, the chemistry in the human organism in the body. Then he went on to become a cardiologist. Imagine that. And that wasn't enough. He went on to get a PhD in electrophysiology. And he now specializes in the electrical conductivity of the heart. And in addition to the 90 studies that we have that are done in the United States, the UK, Europe, as well as Asia, he also does his own studies for the past 3 years on his patients. And he has research studies that are published on PubMed, and they're indexed for other doctors and scientists and professionals to review. That's just one of over 1,000 doctors. Dr. Stacy, double PhD in integrative medicine and functional medicine. Dr. Mel, she has 3 PhDs, functional medicine, integrative medicine, and naturopathic medicine. I could go on and on and on. This is not about that. The point is that if you got a question, we are equipped to get you an answer. And as always, we are not your doctors. You have your own medical professional, but you can go to your doctor. We can give you the research studies. You can share it with them. If they want to sit down on a Zoom. Take 15, 20 minutes to check out the research, the findings, and the protocols and the information that we have so that you can make a best informed choice and they can guide you with whatever it is that you're going through. Guess what? You're at the right time, at the right place with the right people. There's no coincidences. There are only God incidences. You've been asking, you've been seeking, and now you have found an answer. And if this resonates with you, what better gift than the gift of health? If you are ready, willing, and able to invest in your health, because no matter what, everybody pays a price. You pay the price of health or you pay the price of sickness. People who are into health and wellness that work out, you pay the price of having a gym membership. You pay the price for organic food instead of processed food. People who are into health and wellness, we're not going to be eating a bunch of fast foods, the cheapest hamburgers that you can find. No, foods filled with MSG and all sorts of other chemicals in them. No, we're going to keep to God-made, not man-made foods. And so either way you pay a price. You can pay the price of health or pay the price of illness. You can spend your time, money, and resources going to hospitals and now you have to pay to fix all these things that are wrong, or you can pay the price because maybe you're not ill. Maybe you just want to optimize your body. In my case, I got hit by a bus. So even though I was into health and wellness ever since I was young, because my mom's always been into juicing and to drinking lots of water, and she would not, TV dinners, no way, never. Packaged canned foods, no way. Ding dongs, any of those, all of that junk food, no way. Absolutely not. My mom was ahead of her time. My mom's 88 now. Kind of dating myself there, but my mom's 88. My mom was an older mom as well. But my mom was into all that health and wellness, and I remember my younger brother would complain, the reason why I'm thin and why I can never gain any weight and I can't gain a bunch of muscles is because we eat such healthy food that you can never put on any weight and any muscles. And then when he was in his 20s, he started realizing, oh my gosh, my mom really knew what she was doing. And, to this day, he's in his 50s now, and he's like all solid muscle because he's never gone into eating garbage food. And my brothers are both of my brothers are in their 50s, and both my little brothers. And guess what? None of them are on any prescription meds. They're fine. The average American male is on 10 prescription meds. To me, that's horrifying. I won't even take Tylenol. Why? Because when I was in my 20s, I knew, and I don't get aches and pains. But guess what? I did have a root canal when I was in my 20s. They, of course, want to give you Tylenol with codeine. I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. I go, they say that that's all good, fine and dandy now, but 20, 30 years from now, they're going to say that it causes brain tumors or, flesh-eating virus or whatever. And I'm like, no. Thank goodness that I said no to all of that. I preserved my temple because now I know one of my professors, actually I've never stopped getting medical certifications. And in the last 10 years, one of my professors who has passed away she passed away during the middle of COVID, she was talking about how paracetamol, which is known as Tylenol in the United States, is the leading cause of liver failure in the US and Europe. And it's also the number one cause of overdoses in children and infants. And I'm like, I knew it. And then when I looked it up, it turned out to be true. I was like, wow, the public doesn't know this. So, my friends and gems, if you want to know more, get back to the person who referred you to this video. If the source of you learning about all of this is myself, because I'm the one who either sent you this video or maybe you came across because the algorithm showed you this video on YouTube and suggested it to you, then reach out to me. Every Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, Tuesday and Wednesday, of course, it's Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so I'm not going to be doing I'm not going to be doing any Zooms. So I'm going to be with my family, my friends, and family, which I absolutely love and adore. But on Monday, I will be doing a Zoom at 12, 2, and 7 p.m. Pacific time. And you will see If you want me to text you that information about what time my Zooms are, 12, 2, and 7 p.m., put it in the comments below. I'm interested. Send me Zoom link. And I will send you the time zones because we make sure that we're friendly for not just the US, but also for Europe, South Korea, Dubai, Europe, New Zealand, and Australia. The 12 o'clock time works for most Europeans. And then the 7 p.m. time works well for New Zealand and Australia because you guys are anywhere from 17 to 19 hours ahead of us because depending whether you're North or South Australia, we have a lot of Australians coming on board. All right, my friends and gems, thank you for staying here and watching this. I want to wish you guys just a beautiful rest of your weekend. It's Saturday night here. And it's been a glorious day, and I am so overjoyed. And I'm going to share with you these incredible these pictures. My friend Barbara decorated this house. I think she did such a beautiful job. Look at those sunsets. I am here in Destin, Florida. Look at that whale tail. Isn't that cool? If you ever get a chance to come to Destin, here in January and in February, I'm going to be in Orlando, Florida. If you want to meet me in person, if you want to get started before then and you want to collaborate, if you're a doctor, a holistic care practitioner, or you are a brand partner, or you want to become a brand partner and you're interested in learning more about this, not only to improve yourself, but also to teach, train, and educate others about this life-saving technology, put something in the comments below. And again, get back to the person who referred you to this video if I wasn't the initial source. Okay? All right, my friends and gems, I got things to do, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my friends and gems, for watching this video. And as always, ciao for now. Bye-bye. And I love you all.